What's up guys, it's Caitlin B and welcome back to my channel. First of all, I just have to admit I have like 4 layers of different liquid lipsticks on my lips at this very moment because I just could not decide which shade to put on. Taking off each layer is just like way too much work, so I ended up just layering them on top of each other, so now my lips are like super thick and disgusting. I severely apologize. Today's video is going to be a vegan's beginner guide because I cannot tell you how many questions I get every single day from you guys all about how to go vegan, what's the necessary steps, did you do it all at once, did you do it slowly? You guys ask me such great questions, so instead of responding to each one of you individually, I thought it'd be way more beneficial for me to come on here and do a complete video sharing my experience, my tips, what I wish I knew, and most importantly, how to do it successfully and healthily, because there's definitely a right and some wrong ways to go about it. Even if just one person watched my videos and decided to even just start thinking about the lifestyle and doing their own research, I think that is a complete success. Before I get on to the video, I just want to say hello to anyone who has just stumbled upon my channel. I would absolutely love if you joined the fam and hit that subscribe button right below. So the first question comes from Anna, and she asks, I am curious on how to even begin to transition, what to first buy and eat. I'm at a loss, and it'd be awesome to see some tips into transitioning into eating and living a vegan lifestyle. So I thought that'd be great to start that off because that's basically what this entire video is going to be about. But I'm not going to be delving too far into why I decided to go vegan and how I even found the lifestyle, because I've done an entirely separate video on that. It's called What Changed My Life. I will put that video up in the info bar above. You can check it out after this video, or you want to watch beforehand. Do you. I hope none of you think that I am being preachy or judging you for your lifestyle, especially if going vegan is nothing that you've ever considered or see for yourself in the future. Like, don't take this video as me judging you for your lifestyle, because you can absolutely do whatever you want. I cannot tell you what to do. But even if you've stumbled upon this video to like go in the comments and just preach something totally different, I just urge you not to be disrespectful or unkind to others. You can definitely voice your opinion by all means, but just do it respectfully, because this is a positive environment here and I am not trying to push anything onto you. Again, if you want to know the exact reasons why I decided to go vegan, you can definitely watch the video that I've linked up in the info bar above. But the main reasons that people do find this lifestyle or decide to start eating this way is mainly for 3 reasons. And the first one is environmental impact. The second reason is to stop contributing to animal cruelty. And the last reason is to highly lower your risk of developing a disease or reversing a disease such as cancer, diabetes, osteoporosis, MS. So the first thing I wish I knew is that there are so many different kinds of vegan diet. When I was first introduced to the lifestyle, I thought there was just one way and one way only, and that is that you're vegan if you don't eat any meat, eggs, or dairy. But I quickly learned that that was not the case, and I started realizing this when I started watching other YouTubers what I eat in a day videos and just researching healthy vegan diets. And then I quickly saw how many different kinds there are, which was incredibly overwhelming for me. But when I started watching all of these videos and learning all of these facts or opinions from different vegans, like, it got me really scared and overwhelmed because I didn't want to do it wrong, and I felt like I had to do one way over the other, and I just didn't know which way to go. Just a couple examples. Some people go fully raw, so they only eat raw produce, nuts, and seeds. And for me, I just couldn't imagine not having any cooked food again. But then again, I was like, is this how I have to go? Others eat what's called raw till 4, so they will eat all raw foods until 4 p.m. and then they can choose to have a cooked dinner. There's also WSLF, which stands for whole starch low fat. There's also one that's very similar called HCLF, which is a little bit more common, I feel like, and that is high carb low fat. You can also be a junk food vegan. So basically you're eating technically all plant-based foods, but you may be eating a lot of processed foods, fake meats and cheeses, and packaged foods like chips that are technically vegan, but not the best for you. Do you think you're a junk food vegan? Yeah. At me next time. There's definitely other diets as well. Those are just a few, but I'm not gonna delve into that in this video. But if you guys are genuinely interested in all the different types of vegan diets that there are, let me know in the comments below if you want me to do a video on that, kind of diving into all the diets and which kind of diet would benefit you. Let me know if you guys are interested. But my advice to anyone beginning this lifestyle is to not focus on trying to follow a specific vegan diet right away. Just from my experience, I came from eating a diet of meat and cheeses and eggs, like the whole shebang. And for me, I had failed so many different kind of diets because it was way too restrictive or way too different than what I was eating that I just couldn't maintain energy. I was feeling weak, I was feeling moody and crappy, and for me, that was just enough to quit that diet, say it wasn't for me, and then I would just go right back to what I was eating, or even worse, and just eating a bunch of junk food just because I felt like that was what my body was craving at the time. Going vegan is amazing, but trying to follow all these guidelines and rules of, you know, being raw till 4 or whole starch, low fat, and all these little things like avoiding oils and all that kind of stuff can just kind of get in your head. And if you have a very addictive mindset and kind of OCD mindset of trying to follow things and kind of be really restrictive on yourself, then this can be harmful to try to follow all these things right off the bat. So don't worry about following specifics right away. The next question I wanted to answer asks, do you recommend slowly going vegan or changing your diet all at once? This is an amazing question, and I had to answer it right now in this video because I briefly just touched on it. It kind of just depends on what you know will work best for you. Again, some people like to dive headfirst into things, and some people kind of need to get themselves acclimated, get their feet wet. For me, I highly recommend doing it slowly. That's what I did, and I'm still doing to this day. I'm not 100% perfect. There's so much to learn, and I'm still learning to this day. So yes, I recommend doing it slowly, but if you're someone who likes to just go cold turkey and just do it all at once because you're horrified by all the information you've learned, just do what works for you. But I think most of us have to do things slowly in order for it to be a lifelong change, which is what I wanted. After learning all this information, I knew I didn't want to contribute to this industry anymore. I was horrified, and you know, in my mind, it would be amazing to just go cold turkey and be like a picture perfect poster child for veganism. Like, that'd be great, but that just wasn't realistic for me. And again, there's so much to learn about this lifestyle. Technically, veganism is not just a way of eating. Veganism is technically defined as a lifestyle because it contributes to everything. A full vegan also doesn't buy leather or wear leather, suede, not just what you eat, it's also what you wear and brands that you're contributing to. You know, you couldn't have like a leather car. So I recommend just starting with what's most important to you. I think what you eat has a really big impact, so I would start there. But for example, if the animal cruelty side is way more important to you and the most important thing, so maybe for you, you want to stop buying and wearing leather goods. So that's something to think about as well. But again, that's super overwhelming if you think about it. I will put a resource down below. You can type in basically any kind of brand and see if it's cruelty free, if it's tested on animals or not. And you may be horrified to learn like so many of your things are tested on animals. So like I said, there's a lot of information out there and a lot to learn. But for me, I'm just starting with the food aspect. And that is totally my end goal, is to be completely cruelty free and all that fun stuff. But gotta take it one step at a time. Next thing I wish I knew is caloric density. Have you ever heard of this term? Because for me, I had never heard of this in my entire life until I started researching it and reading The Starch Solution. A lot of people fail changing their diet because they're eating a lot less calories than they should be, like a scary amount. There's so many diets out there and fads that are so incredibly dangerous because they try to feed you this lie that you need to eat like under a certain amount of calories that's super harsh on your body, and that's not sustainable at all. The Atkins diet is so incredibly awful, and I don't want to get into that right now because I know I'm going to cause some controversy with that. But if you eat foods with a low caloric density, you will not gain weight whatsoever. I could literally stuff my face on zucchini until I felt full, and I would not consume any extra calories. And that's because whole plant foods have a really low caloric density as opposed to meats and cheeses and oil. 500 calories of potatoes and rice and beans, I could eat so much of that and feel full and satisfied, as opposed to if I were eating 500 calories of meat, I could only eat like this much of that in comparison to this much. If I ate 500 calories of cheese, for example, by the time my stomach stretch receptors, that's what it's called, responds to my brain and tells it that I'm full, I've already consumed too many calories. It takes a lot longer for those receptors to tell your brain that you're full when you're eating those kinds of foods, as opposed to whole plant foods with a low caloric density. Like again, I could eat way more of the fruits and veggies or of the potatoes, rice, beans, all these amazing foods. Oil is even worse, which is why I tend to steer clear of that. And I know I've talked about this in videos before, and I've gotten a lot of questions about why I avoid oil, especially because it's not like it's derived from animals. So yes, you could technically eat oil on a vegan diet, but for me, I try to steer clear of it as much as possible because it is truly empty calories. In 1 tablespoon, it's like 120 calories and 14 grams of the fat, and it's literally doing nothing for you. This diagram shows it perfectly. 500 calories of oil is not anything at all, and it's so easy to overeat if you're drenching your foods in oils. You just don't feel satisfied at all from that. I mean, like, eating a scoop of oil is not gonna make you feel full by any means, so you're gonna eat way more. That's just a nice visual for you guys to explain caloric density a little bit better, but again, do your own research on that. But why I am telling you guys this is because when you're transitioning into a vegan lifestyle, it can be really easy to go for the junk food vegan route. Eating fake burgers and cheese and chicken strips at first may help you curb your cravings and help you get acclimated to the lifestyle, which is amazing. I mean, that's so much better than eating the actual meat and cheese, but it's not gonna really help you sustain long-term because it's not really what your body's craving. It's really processed and has a lot of soy. A lot of people transition to a vegan lifestyle and wonder why they're not seeing results, wonder why they're not losing weight, or maybe if they're gaining weight. But the truth is, you can totally be an unhealthy vegan. So while the fake processed foods are great, like fake chicken strips, I love the ones by Gardein, they are amazing, but I can't really sustain on that long term. It's kind of like a treat for me. So if you find that you're transitioning or you started trying to be vegan, but you stopped because you're not feeling full and satisfied, it's often because you probably weren't eating full plant foods like potatoes, brown rice, quinoa, beans and lentils, all that stuff that's really gonna fuel your body and keep you from feeling weak and lethargic. So just something to keep in mind. My next tip is to don't just eat vegetables. Veggies can and probably should be a really big portion of your meals. Obviously, they're amazing for you, but that doesn't mean you should only eat veggies. And this is a big mistake that I made at first. I've talked about this on my channel before, but I thought that I just needed to eat vegetables. So I remember going to make a big bowl of sauteed zucchini, and I remember eating that and I felt pretty full at the time, and then it wasn't long after, like an hour or so, that I started feeling hungry again. Like, I literally only sustained on that for a few days before I was like, okay, I don't know if I can do this anymore because I am so hungry. I remember feeling weak and lethargic. I really had no energy. I was drinking so much coffee and I was so worried that this lifestyle wasn't gonna work out for me, and that's when the universe was telling me to watch this video. But I remember watching a What I Eat in a Day video and they talked about the starch solution. So I remember ordering the book right away, and then I also did some research on the doctor who wrote that book, Dr. McDougall, and I started watching his videos and the kind of vegan lifestyle that he supports. And that book really changed my way of viewing this lifestyle, and it really inspired me. It has a bunch of recipes in that book, which is amazing. But this book really helped me learn that carbs are not the devil, which I feel like society feeds us all the time. Like, you see so many articles about like how bad gluten is for you and how bad carbs are for you, and that's just not true. There's different kinds of carbs, you know, there's like refined carbs, unrefined carbs. And so I learned that, you know, just eating potatoes is super good for you, which I was like, how weird is this? You know, like, I love potatoes. How could this be the main part of my meal? Like, how could I sustain on that? I was always taught that potatoes are like a side thing, like a treat. And that can be true if you're eating it fried or piling it in butter and salt and all the bad things that you're putting into the potato. But just the potato itself is like amazing for you. The book really helped me open my eyes and just realize what is important and what's actually going to keep me full and satisfied, which is starches. Veggies are amazing for you, but they're not going to fuel you for a long time, give you that long-lasting energy that you need. So if you've been feeling weak and lethargic, like I said, and are just struggling with sustaining with this lifestyle, it's most likely because you're not having the biggest portion of your meals starch-based. So I will link the Starch Solution book down in the description box below, as well as some of his recipes. Some people take what I say the wrong way when I'm saying like you can eat as much as you want, and they think that that's just something bad to preach. But honestly, eat as much as you want until you feel full. You're just intuitively listening to your body, and your body's gonna tell you when it's full when you're eating whole plant-based food. What I wish I knew is that you can eat a lot more. And for me, this is like such a selling point on this lifestyle because, hello, I love to eat. The last part of this video, I'm just going to be answering the rest of your guys' questions, the most common questions that I get, and just a couple that I thought were really funny that I wanted to include in this video and that I also think would be really helpful for you guys. So the first one actually comes from Kaylee, who is in my sorority, which was super funny. And she asked, how do you live without cheese? Because seriously, cheese, first of all, is one of the hardest things for me to give up. Like, that was something that I loved so much. Like the aged sharp white cheddar was my shit. Cheese is definitely a hard thing for a lot of us to give up who aren't lactose intolerant. So I totally get that, and I feel like a lot of you guys would ask me this as well. You may have intense cravings right at first. I think that's natural when you're giving something up. After a while, like, you don't really miss it because you kind of slowly start to forget. There are vegan cheese substitutes, but I think that's the one thing that there isn't a great substitute for that I've tried yet. And the brand Chow Cheese is actually one of my favorite brands of cheeses if you can get your hands on it. The thing that actually really helps me not like crave cheese or dairy is to remind myself that there's so much pus in it, which sounds so disgusting. And you may not even realize that that's the reality of it. There's a certain amount of pus that the FDA does allow in each amount of cheese or dairy. Honestly, that alone just kind of helps me like not crave it at all, because I think that's so repulsive when I look at it and I'm like thinking about eating it. I'm like, this is full of pus. Like, I'm done. Like, I don't want it. I have such a hard time sleeping at night and staying awake during the day. Do you think eating plant-based has helped improve your sleep and overall energy levels? I thought this was a great question because I actually haven't really been asked this a lot. To be honest, I kind of started finding the vegan lifestyle and starting to slowly transition when I was in my last year and a half or 2 years of college. So at this point, I had stopped drinking so much, like alcohol, and also just eating a little bit healthier since I lived in my own apartment, and I just started learning the importance of healthy living. When I found the lifestyle, I had already stopped drinking so much and I've already started eating better, so my sleep already improved. So I don't want to go out and say that like my sleep got tremendously better just because I went vegan. So I'm not the best person to ask, but I will say that yes, it has improved my energy levels a lot. A lot of people who go vegan end up not drinking coffee or caffeinated drinks because they get all the energy that they need through the plant foods, which I think is amazing. But for me, I just love the taste of coffee so much. And yes, sometimes I still do feel like I need that boost in the morning to be productive, and maybe that's just kind of like a habitual mindset, like that's what's worked for me in the past, so I'm still doing it. But honestly, I just love coffee, so I continue to drink that. Not excessively, I'll just have like 1 cup a day. Meg asked, do you still watch what you eat as a vegan? I feel like there's a lot of differing advice in this area. I love fruits and veggies, but I know I couldn't eat that for every meal and be satisfied. I think as you go on, just naturally, you're going to feel a lot more confident in the lifestyle, and you won't really have to watch what you eat as much because you do know a lot more than when you first started. When you first started, like I said, it is overwhelming, so much information. I do, to an extent, watch what I eat in terms of oils. I tend to, and this is just a personal choice, I don't want you to feel like you have to do what I'm doing. This is just what I find works well for me, but I tend to steer clear of oil as much as possible. And recently I learned that soy has been really detrimental to my skin and my hormones. And obviously that's something that's like, duh, Caitlin, like you should have known that. But I went through a phase where I was eating a lot of tofu and soy butter, and I'm gonna be doing a whole video on my skin and like my ups and downs with that. All in all, I feel like you just kind of have to listen to your body and what it needs. Some of us may crave more fats, and especially as women, like we should have more fats in our diets. Avocados, seeds, nuts, that kind of stuff is good for our bodies. Men don't really need it as much, but I try to eat mainly starches and then a lot of vegetables. What's your favorite source of protein and or calcium? I think my favorite would have to be beans. I love beans so much. Black beans and garbanzo beans lately, like chickpeas. I want all of it all the time. Give it to me, please. Natty asked, what are your favorite meals to meal prep for lunch? When it comes to meal prep, I love making burrito bowls just because it's so easy. Recipes for vegan pasta dishes. I have a really great veggie bolognese that I make, and oh my gosh, it's so good. Like Sarah asked me to make it a couple of times. It's amazing. So maybe I should do what I eat in a day on that, because I promise it's amazing. Do you use substitutes for things like cream cheese and sour cream, or do you eliminate that stuff altogether? If you do substitutes, what are some of your favorites? Yes, I do substitutes, and sometimes I make it and then sometimes I buy it. It kind of depends. My go-to favorite Holy Grail cream cheese, oh my gosh, it's amazing, is almond based, and it's by Kite Hill. This is what it looks like. Holy crap, you guys need to try this. I went through a huge phase of eating everything bagels and Kite Hill cream cheese every single morning. It was so incredibly good. Oh my gosh, highly recommend it. When it comes to sour cream, I was never a huge sour cream fan to begin with. For me, I would make it out of soaked cashews and using a couple different herbs. How do you deal with meat cravings? I've been vegan for about 2 to 3 weeks and I keep craving a burger and chicken and it won't go away. I think that's super natural when you're first starting out. I was someone who ate eggs every single day. I loved eggs so much, and that was something that was so hard for me to give up that I knew I couldn't do that right away. So I first gave up red meat, then I gave up chicken, and then I started slowly easing away at eggs by starting with substitutes. So if you're really craving meat, maybe you should try the Beyond Burger because that one is the most similar to real meat. They had it down to a science. Try the substitutes at first. Even though they're very processed, it's still better than eating regular meat. If you're craving like chicken strips, chicken fingers, try Gardein brand because I personally love those. I think they're great. And then as you keep going on, you'll start to find new things that you crave. It'll totally take some time, but don't beat yourself up for it. What you're doing is amazing. It's gonna be a lifelong change and just keep with it. You got this. That about wraps up what I wanted to talk about in this video. Sorry it is so long, but I had so much information for you guys and tips, and I really wanted to answer your guys' personal questions when it comes to going vegan. Similar to like learning a new language, like there's so much to learn, like tenses and verbs and all of these things that go into it. You're not gonna be perfect at first. You're not gonna learn this new language right away, overnight. Like maybe some people can do that, that's amazing, but for most of us, it's gonna take time. You just gotta start getting your feet wet and just sticking with it and learning new things every day. Make it a point to get yourself educated and research about everything there is to know and what's most important to you, and make sure you have a reason for this. I will also list some of my favorite books and documentaries down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, and if you are new to my channel or you have not yet subscribed, I would absolutely, again, love if you became part of the fam. Hit that subscribe button right below, hit that bell icon right next to it so that you get notified every single time I post a new video. And again, I'm always taking new requests for videos, so if there's something that you really want me to talk about or delve more into, do not hesitate to put that in the comments below because I would love to do that for you guys. But other than that, I hope you guys have a fabulous day and I will see you in my next one.